WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WVTC Radio Detroit, its advertisers, or affiliates.
It's time. It's time. It's time for the wake-up call, y'all. Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
It's time for the wake-up call with Reverend Horace Sheffield and friends. Each and every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on the WVTC Detroit Radio Network.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's time. He's on the line. This is knowledge and power for every mankind. For every generation that's in these streets. We making sure you ain't walking in your sleep. We're in your town, your city and community. Promoting good health, wealth, and unity. We-educating everybody, y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield.
And now, Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Trailers that they set up, and they need to set one right up here on Grand River, Wyoming, so we probably can catch half the criminals on the west side right on this corner. Oh, David, quiet now. But at any rate, we move on, and I'm gonna tell you something. I refuse to lose, and I defy defeat, and I don't let anybody. I don't let anybody, pour whatever they want to pour on my mental skies. Hello, somebody.
Yes, sir.
You got to dance in your darkness. Then I had a political thing happen this week. I got to tell you, hear about it at the board. I mean, just absolutely insanity. We do very well over here. We serve people. We keep our costs down. I mean, we do everything. By the way, congratulate Juanita Badell. We just got a new grant from the Detroit Area Agents on Agency. She's going to be expanding what the seniors do. But there's some folk out here that, David, and you can be political if you can, that trying to tell me I can't get money because my daughter's announced she's running for mayor. What's she got to do with me?
I don't know.
She got nothing to do with me.
That's right.
And if we do good work, we do good work.
That's
I mean,
right.
you know how it is. Y'all just own your cousins when they bank robbers. I ain't
No,
seen
they
that.
be asking for their share.
Huh?
They be asking for their share. If you get a little lick, hey, you better not let your family know.
I don't want
they
no
want
money
some.
from nobody in my family to rob the bank. Because if you knowingly take money that was from a bank that was robbed, you going to jail too.
Right, and I think our record speaks for itself, too, in terms of service, like you said, to the community and resources that we provide. So I think that should be what we're looking. There we go.
Well, here you go. Here come the men in blue.
My man.
To protect and serve. You know those machines are like cheese for fat rats. That's what they are.
Wait a minute.
And hold up now. You know whoever did that been in here.
Yeah.
Because they came through the back gate, they cut the back gate. I mean, come on. I got daylight around my building. But anyway, we gonna move on.
Oh, we got some hour.
If you were stealing because you were hungry, we have food every first Saturday right here. Produce, vegetables, and somebody on the call? Who was? I thought it was 8:15. Okay, all right. We'll get to the call in a minute. We got some announcements. Look, we moved our shower program, the Wave. We've actually picked up with folks, and we've got some clothes to go with it, some fresh underwear and other kinds of things that, you want to take a shower, you won't want to put the same clothes back on, although some of us ain't homeless, and that's what we do. Hello, somebody. And every Monday from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here, you can come get a free hot shower. We also been giving them some food from Gleaners and some other things as well. Also on our wake-up call distribution of fresh produce, vegetables, and produce, vegetables, and fruit every first Saturday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on the corner of Grand River. David, you got a couple of announcements?
Also, as it relates to food distribution, we still do it every fourth Friday. That's from 12 to 2, right here on the corner of Grand River in Wyoming. That's 12048 Grand River. Every fourth Friday from 12 to 2. Also, we have This coming Wednesday. Everybody say Wednesday.
Wednesday.
6 o'clock.
You can tell he's a preacher, right? Everybody say Wednesday.
We have Dr. Cornell.
Everybody say tithe. He say no. Go ahead.
On Wednesday, we have Dr. Cornell West will be down at the Bridge Center. That's 9928 Livernois. 9928 Grand River. At the corner
Everything's
of
on Grand River.
9928 Grand, and it's right here too. I can't read. And that's this Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Dr. Cornell West, and afterward we would have an afterglow down at One Mic. That's at 1331 Broadway. 1331 Broadway.
8 o'clock. Dr. Cornell West will be there.
Yes, sir.
If you can't make it at 6 p.m. to the Bridge Center, come on down to One Mic. We've got a sponsor for that. You need to figure out who our sponsors are in the future. No, for the afterglow, because Erica Alexander will be here the following week,
October 4th. Yes, sir.
Who has got her own film studio now.
Yes, sir.
And she did Good Trouble. She was the producer of Good Trouble, and she's doing very well for her. It's called Glam. I think it's called Glam Productions, something like that. And she'll be down at One Mic after the event as well. We got some great speakers. We've got
Keith Ellison,
Attorney General of Minnesota, coming, and then Jamal Bryant.
That's right.
In December
13th.
And he won't take up an offering. Don't worry, we have no offerings. Just come and give us a good talk about what the black church should be doing, what we should be doing. And then next year we got some stuff scheduled. Yeah. Donnie Simpson, I don't know why they don't have the updated flyer, but Donnie Simpson's coming June 25th.
Okay.
Just add him to that.
So June 25th, next summer, y'all get yourselves together. Since yesterday was the last day of summer. Today is the first day of fall. We got Donnie Simpson coming.
That means no more hot pants. Go ahead.
Dr. Michael Eric Dice will be here Wednesday, January 10th. Reverend Al Sharpton, February 7th. Dr. Fatima Stanford will be here March 20th.
Cody Stanford, please, if you're ever around, don't miss Cody, because she gets upset.
Dr. Fatima Cody Stanford.
And you know who she is?
No, I don't.
She's a physician from Harvard University that found the fat cell. She's been on Oprah. She's been everywhere. And she's saying it's not a made-up mind. It's not a lack of will. People have a different way of digesting food. And in fact, she's proven some of these folks don't even eat much and still grow in the wrong spaces and places.
And last but not least, Chris Smalls.
By the way, Leverett loves that, because Leverett likes fat women. But go ahead. He told look, Leverett told all his old girlfriends, don't come to this presentation. Stay the way you are. Go ahead.
Chris Smalls will be here Wednesday.
Now, who is Chris Smalls?
Chris Smalls, as he organized the
He's
Amazon.
the brother that organized Amazon workers, Amazon Labor Union, the first union at, there go my brother Bridgewater. I guess the police out there, you can talk to him. And it's in New York. And you know what Amazon is doing?
What are they doing?
Even though they've been certified by the NLRB, National Labor Relations Board, still withholding the dues of members. They did that in Michigan, by the way, and so that now, if like you in the UAW, you used to take it out of your check, now you got to pay your dues. And you still have to be represented whether you pay your dues or not.
Right.
But they've been taking dues out of Amazon workers in New York and not paying it to the union. So, any rate.
All right.
Last but not least, we got a big event next week.
Next week, Voices of the Heart, community-based event. It's going to be here September 30th at 9 a.m., and you can attend virtually or in person. That's going to be here, 12048 Grand River. It's 12048 Grand River, a presentation led by heart specialist Dr. Simba.
You need a last name pronounced?
Yes, sir. I don't want to mess it up.
Shia
Daika, associate professor of cardiovascular medicine at the University of Texas Health Science Center, McGovern Medical School. And the event will be moderated by our own Dr. Carolyn Carter and hosted by our illustrious executive director, Reverend Horace Sheffield III. Also, we'll be joined by special guests who will share his personal experience with ATTR, which is...
This amyloidosis is a pulmonary affliction which affects the heart, which serious numbers of folks are affected by it. Physicians don't even know how to diagnose it. They think it's everything else other than by, and by the time you find out, going through several years of progression, you normally die. Oh, that's what they had. So we're working on raising awareness for people to be tested for it, to tell your physicians, and it primarily affects us.
And this is sponsored by Visor, Dabo, and the Wake Up Call. Again,
so
that's next week.
A vast number of people who are dying from broken hearts really have that ailment, because it gets to the point where, you can hardly breathe, you don't feel well. And listen to Don Chaney talk about his symptoms and how it was misdiagnosed. So we're trying to raise awareness. We're going to have a wonderful turnout. We're going to have some gift giveaways. We're going to have the Divine Nine. We're going to have the Sigmas in the morning. And then we're going to have that event later on. All right, let's keep going with our business. Y'all make some noise up in here. Lord, we pray for our city. We pray for all these folks who think they have to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to call them the devil, but it sounds much like the ones in the Bible. But we need to be able to find a way to make our city safe and clean and not be able to go through what we go through, losing property, losing life, losing hope. And we just pray, God, whoever did this, that they were hungry, feed them. If they just thieves, arrest them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, let's go to Huron Clinton Metro Parks. Hope they ain't try to steal the water at one of them parks. You know. Hey, Steve Siebert, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing excellent, and it sounds like everybody's having a good time down there this morning as well. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm doing pretty well. I'm just glad to be in the land of the living one more day. And also glad to know that there's somewhere I can go to kind of steal away and relax and rest. One of the, I think, virtues and values of a park is you can go there and get away from the hustle and bustle of daily life in urban centers.
Yeah, that is definitely the case, especially, it's fall now, so, temps are a little cooler, but it's still beautiful. And in another month or so, we're going to have some fall colors, and the next few weeks, we got plenty of events coming up, too.
Speaking of events, Steve, you got the Sheldon Mountain Bike Fest coming up. What exactly is the Sheldon
That's
Mountain?
right up your alley, man.
Yeah, I love biking.
So we got a very nice mountain bike trail system in our Sheldon trail area, from beginner-level trails to really advanced stuff. So this year we got our second annual festival where, last year we had about 1,000 people over the 6-hour span of the event, and they enjoyed each other's company. They enjoyed all the vendors that had offerings. There's food and drink and just a celebration of getting out in nature and doing some mountain biking.
So that's what the guests can expect when they come out. What time and where? Is that Stony Creek, correct?
It's at Stony Creek Metro Park in the West Branch Sheldon Trail picnic area, and it's from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. The event itself is free. Of course, there is always just a daily entry fee to get into the park.
So now you have to have your own bike, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, well, you can count on David. David, you know why David loves to ride his bikes?
Uh-oh, be careful.
It's those pants that he gets to wear. He loves those biking pants.
Ed, I don't wear those, Ed.
Okay.
For the record.
Wait a minute. Why you at?
Because I saw you smile. I saw you gearing up.
So let me ask you, this event, is this for people who are established riders, or is this something that someone who's just getting into biking could come and enjoy and benefit from?
So it's for everybody. So we do have a few times throughout the day where there's a beginner clinic where you may not have to go on the trail, but we've got a couple instructors from Cramba, the mountain bike club, that's working with us on this, and they can show and teach some skills that will help you, learn how to get on the trails.
I know we got Aaron. Go ahead, Ed. I'm sorry.
Do you need to register for this event?
So the event itself, you can come as you will. If you want to participate in the skills lessons, that is a pre-registration, and that's just we're limited to 30 people per session, so we just don't want to get it overcrowded. But the lesson is free. But that is all done through the Metro Parks website, metroparks.com.
Repeat the website one more time. It was a little muffled.
Yep, www.metroparks.com.
Okay. And this is free. The registration is free?
It is, yep. It's really just saving your space
and did we
to be in the class.
Did we discuss the date of it?
Yes, we do. It's next Saturday.
Okay, it's next Saturday.
That's a free
You have
event.
an opportunity to go out and to participate in this. In fact, you got time to go buy a bike. Bike's probably a discounted at this point, given the time of the season. But, I love the fact that you guys have so many things in so many ways that folk can get busy, get moving, and do some things that are in their well-being.
So, Aaron, are you on the phone there, Aaron, too?
I am.
Cool, Aaron. So let's
I
switch
didn't know
gears
somebody else was there.
for a second. What are some other events and programs that you all, or that we can expect that's going on this fall?
Yeah, so there's lots of educational opportunities at both Stony Creek and Lake St. Clair Metro Park. For example, today at Lake St. Clair, right on the lake, we are hosting a bat festival. So it's a free festival taking place mostly indoors where you can learn all about Michigan's bats around the world, do crafts, all kinds of bat-related things, learn about their calls, learn about how to protect bats. So that's taking place today from 11 to 3 at Lake St. Clair. No registration required. You can just show up. There is the daily park vehicle fee, but other than that, once you're in the park, it's free. So it's a beautiful day to come out for the Bat Festival. And then we have lots of fall-related programming at both sites. So if you, your kids, your grandkids are interested in coming out and doing something, we've got a variety of things coming up. We have an autumn leaf lantern making class over at Stony Creek on Sunday, October 1st, which somehow is already next week. And so you can register for that. Again, that's metroparks.com for all of our activities. We've got owl hikes and owl prowls. We've got a Tots Halloween event taking place here at Lake St. Clair in October. We've got Treats at the Beach, which is at Lake St. Clair, October 22nd. That is a fun time from 2 to 5. Come on out to the park with your kids and grandkids. There'll be trunk or treat. There'll be all kinds of activities, including a wagon ride. The Nature Center will have some cool, spooky animals out for people to see, arts and crafts. So that's a fun way to spend an October Sunday afternoon.
So the Treats at the Beach, is that your, observance of Halloween or safer way for kids to experience it?
Exactly. Yep. And so we encourage families to come out in costumes. Hopefully we'll have wonderful weather, beautiful scenery, and then it's all kinds of games and activities. Everyone will go home with a pumpkin. And it's like a trunk or treat where kids and families can kind of safely, away from cars, go from station to station and pick up their treats.
I always look for a safe way to celebrate that. We do what we call Hallowed Eve here. I only change it from Halloween because some folks were mad at me being the preacher talking about Halloween. It's terrible, but, we want to make certain our kids' candy is safe. They're in a safe environment. But you mentioned owls. Ooh. You have owls out there?
We do. We have owls probably at every metro park, and this is a great season to explore them. They start calling. I was out with a group of Girl Scouts on Wednesday night at Lake St. Clair, and we heard great horned owls calling. I was out with a group last night at Stony Creek, and we did not hear any owls, but we saw lots of bats. So there's lots of cool animal activities this time of year.
It's new to me that they're owls.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Horace, I participated in a couple of bat walks, and they're very interesting. I took my grandkids, and they enjoyed it. Okay. It's a healthy activity for family. It's a good thing for your kids to get exposed to nature.
Well, Aaron, absolutely. I'm going to bring my granddaughter because, I would love for my granddaughter to see the owl and bats.
All right. Ooh. All right, so gentlemen, Aaron, I have a phobia about bats. I grew up in Highland. Well, I spent some time in Highland Park. We used to live in Highland Park on Massachusetts, right off of Oakland. And the bat got in the house, Ed. Came in through the fire.
That's not nothing new.
But I'm saying, though,
listen, in Detroit, in the city of Detroit,
like a flying mouse.
We lived on Collingwood, and it was known for people to get bats in their attics.
Yeah,
that was normal.
Yeah, this one didn't stay in the attic though. It was.
I got you.
So I'm gonna switch back here to Steve and just ask him about the Night of the Dragon. That's another festival you have.
The Night of the Dragon.
The Night of the Dragon.
We got owls and bats, and now we have dragons.
Well, it'll be a long shot if we see any dragons that night.
I can say maybe the Loch Ness Monster is out of one of those lakes.
The dragons are usually up north this time of year, but yeah, this is a new event. It's a medieval themed festival. It's called Night of the Dragon because it kind of ties into the Draconoid meteor showers, which occur in October. And there are 2 events, actually. So the first one's at Indian Springs Metro Park on October 7th, and that is from 6 to midnight. And then Stony Creeks is on October 21st from 6 to midnight. And people can expect medieval-type talent, people juggling, fire breathers, stuff like that. There's also games, axe throwing, bounce houses,
that's fire
like
breathing,
that.
not people's breath that smell like catch on
Well,
fire.
it might be both. The food truck's good, but the turkey legs might give you some breath. So there will be food there as well for sale, and some just medieval themed music playing as well. So should be a nice night.
I know these are family.
There'll be all kinds of crafts and activities. So it is an all ages event, but we're encouraging families and adults to come out, come in costume, and then stay for the astronomy, because at the end of Night of the Dragon, we'll be partnering with the Warren Astronomical Society and some of our internal interpretive staff to try to see these meteors and learn a little bit about the night sky while we're out there. So it's a long event. You're welcome to come and go as you please, but there's a lot for everyone to do, and we're really excited about putting these on at both parks this year.
Yeah, I was going to ask about age groups and was it family friendly and all of that. You've responded to me on that. But I'm really interested in the astronomy too, because I don't know, recently what they've discovered is what they thought was the end of the universe is not even almost the beginning of the universe. So there's so much more stuff out there. That just fascinates me.
Yeah, this fun night, fall fun night sounds like a nice date.
Well, that might be a little crowded for a date, but
Well,
it's
Ed was
family
excited
fun.
when you mentioned bats and owls. Remember?
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I was zoo friendly in my day.
Yeah, we only have a couple of minutes, and we're really always excited about what happens there. Are you familiar or aware, I don't want to put you on the spot, of any activities you guys are doing in the parks that you are associated with here? Like, is anything going on in Rouge Park that you know of?
Not this time of year, but we are working with Eliza Howell on the Rouge River, and I know we have done some work with Rouge Park throughout the year with some canoeing events, maybe kayaking events. So more to come. I'm not aware of any of this.
No problem.
Fall.
I know you guys. I want to always let people know, because sometimes they feel as if Huron-Clinton Metro Parks is beyond reach. But you guys do programming in Detroit. You have been involved in things. Even for that matter, over in Palmer Park, you did some activities. So we look forward to always letting people know about what you're doing everywhere. How do people, again, reach you and find out more information about these events?
Yep, the very best way to find out about any of our events in any of the parks, including our outreach in Detroit, which you're right, we did work in Palmer Park. We're busily working with Eliza Howell right now. We've got some more stuff coming this fall and winter, is metroparks.com. And then you navigate to our things to do and our events calendar. And it's going to be overwhelming when you look at it because there's so much going on in all of our parks. I also wanted to say, for that date night idea, just come out to the parks in the fall. All of our parks have walking trails, hiking trails, biking trails. It is beautiful to be in Michigan in September and October.
I don't want to invite Ed to come out on any trails. He might scare somebody. But the point is, there are wonderful things to do in the park. You meet families, you meet other folks, and you need to get involved in what's going on. So we want to thank Steve and Aaron for being a part of our show this morning, and may God bless you and just have a wonderful time this fall in the parks, okay?
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
313-340-9507, 313-340-9507. I have to always watch what I say. I don't know if you know it, but this platform we are is blowing up. There are a lot of African Americans trying to get on this radio station.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that what Ed wanted to talk about was whether or not the freaks come out at night. That's the kind of date night he was maybe.
I think he knows the answer to that question.
Okay, so look, next Wednesday. What's next Wednesday date? We got Cornell West.
The 27th, September 27th.
At 6 p.m. There's still seats available. You don't have to worry about going to the website, but come over to the Bridge Center, 9928 Grand River, at the corner of Livernois. And then the following Wednesday, which is October 4th, Erica Alexander will be there, both at 6 o'clock p.m. We're excited. And then afterwards, on both of those nights, in fact, every night now, for all of our guests, we'll have an afterglow and after party at One Mic. That will start around 8 p.m., and it's no admission. And what's that address?
1331 Broadway, and that's right between Grand River and Gratiot.
All right. Now, all you regulars over there to eat breakfast, man, stop passing out stuff in my building without my permission. Amen. And then somebody need to go type that for him because I haven't studied hieroglyphics. But next Saturday at 9 o'clock, we've got this virtual town hall. Tell them about it, David. All you folks out there eating and here every week, please bring somebody. I need to fill this place. This whole place needs to be full. Go ahead.
Right. We're going to be joined talking about the Voices of the Heart for the Heart. It's a community-based event. And as Rev said earlier, what we want to do is take a proactive approach toward this particular issue and our heart issue, cardiovascular issues and concerns, instead of waiting till after the fact, find out what's going on. So the presentation will be led by a heart specialist, Dr. Simbo Shadika.
There you go. You're getting better.
Shadika, associate professor of cardiovascular medicine, the University of Texas Health Science Center.
Actually, how you take that word? You remember Chia Pets?
Yes.
Her first initial symbol is Chia. Chia Dika.
So it's Chia, not Shia.
Chia. I would say Chia Dika.
All right, Chia.
Yes.
Oh, we got some more.
Hello, officers.
More police.
We got the patrol people in there. We got the supervisors.
We got lieutenant coming through. Sergeant, right.
Hey, you know what? I grew up on the era where they were called Detroit's finest. And I got to say this. Both of my brother-in-laws were deputy chiefs in DPD. Reginald Turner and Dwight Hudson. Both of my brother-in-laws had almost 40 years with the department. Go ahead.
And this event will be moderated by Dr. Carolyn Carter. Our own Dr. Carolyn Carter, of course, is hosted by Reverend Sheffield. And we have a special guest, Don Chaney. Don Chaney, he used to coach the Pistons, too, didn't he?
Don Chaney is the NBA Hall of Famer.
He didn't coach the Pistons?
He played at Boston.
Okay.
He played in Boston,
okay. Man. The great Don Chaney. And played with Dennis. What was Dennis's name?
Johnson.
Came out of Pepperdine.
Dennis Johnson.
Yes.
I remember him. So that event will take place next week, 9 o'clock. You can attend that virtually or here in person. And that's going to be during our show. So we'll have breakfast. We have biscuits, grits, and
salmon croquettes.
And every first Saturday here, we have our own food distribution for the wake-up call. Produce, fruit, and fresh vegetables from 8 to 11. Come out. We buy that from La Grasso in Eastern Market. It's not donated food. Our showers are every Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 10. Every Monday from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. And, of course, don't forget the regular food distribution every fourth Friday of every month. Well, I think it's about I have 8:28. Is it time for a break or no? We got another 30 seconds. And then we got some great speakers coming. Erica Alexander again next week. And then in November 8th, is Attorney General Keith Ellison, who's from Detroit, Dr. Ellison's son, and then Jamal Bryant, that preacher, phenom, December 11th from Atlanta, Georgia. And by the way, we've got a lot of
December 13th.
Dr. King's books, Cornell's books we wrote about Dr. King, the Radical King.
Yes.
We got those. He'll sign those. They'll be available. And we're looking forward to having a great event. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, who's next up? Dr. Natasha Bagdasarian.
Yep.
Bagdasarian, she's the chief medical officer for the state of Michigan, a friend to Dabo, and just a fabulous, gifted physician and servant. We'll be right back after this.
This for y'all. This for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
It's the wake-up call with Reverend Horace Sheffield. We'll be right back on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Hey, this is City Council President Mary Sheffield. I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from my dad, Reverend Horace Sheffield.
What up, though? It's your girl T-Barb, and I get my morning call with Reverend Sheffield. Make sure y'all tune in every Saturday morning. It's good.
Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 AM or 92.7 FM. The wake-up call with the Reverend Horace Sheffield.
At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers, toss wipes in the trash can, and check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
Peace and quiet. Whoever you are, sooner or later, you're going to need some. If only there was a beautiful place just minutes from where you live, where you'll find a perfect little piece of peace and quiet. Turns out there is. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks. With 25,000 acres, there's plenty of peace and quiet to go around. They're your Metro Parks. Come see what all the noise is about. Learn more at metroparks.com.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Are you ready for an evening of powerful insight and inspiration? Join Dabo on September 27th at 6 p.m. for the Community Empowerment Speaker Series, featuring renowned scholar and activist Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West will be examining the relevance of Dr. King's vision and teachings in our current social and political climate. Don't miss this opportunity to engage with one of the most dynamic and influential voices in modern civil rights activism. Reserve your seat now for an unforgettable evening. Visit DaboDetroitInc.com to RSVP.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
What's her name? Her name is Laura Mackenzie Scruggs. She reads at a 6th grade level. Every school I've put her in, they say I need to put her somewhere else. And you know her. She's extremely articulate.
Absolutely.
She gets up in front of my church and talks like an adult. And I'm so proud of my granddaughter. And she calls me all the time and let me know how much she loves her granddaddy. And sometimes when stuff like this happens, they break in your building, all that stuff, all you need to be reminded is what's really important.
Yes, sir.
And that's relationships. And speaking of relationships, we are so blessed to have the support and the encouragement of Dr. Natasha Bagdasarian, who's the Chief Medical Officer for the state of Michigan. Welcome to our show, Dr. B.
Thanks for having me on this morning.
Wonderful. I'm going to just tell you, I had the occasion 2 weeks ago, and I won't mention his name, to be with a classmate of mine who looks perfectly healthy, and he died yesterday from COVID. And he never had the vaccination, pretty much bragged about the fact that he never got COVID, and he didn't have any vaccine, but he got it and he was dead. I'm beginning to see this COVID reemerge, and it seems to be more serious than some of the previous types of COVID. Is that true or no?
Well, number one, I am so sorry for the loss of your friend. We're hearing stories like this all the time, and it literally breaks my heart. So we are seeing an uptick in COVID-19. We are seeing the virus come back. We had been in historic low rates all through the summer, and we're now starting to see upticks. It's very real. And here's the thing. This may not be more severe than previous surges, but we are expecting those numbers to keep going up through the fall and into the winter. We're expecting COVID to peak in around January.
Okay.
But we are also looking ahead, and we're expecting other viruses to start peaking at that time as well, including influenza and RSV. And now when we have three viruses like that, three really harmful viruses that are circulating at the same time and that target the same people with underlying conditions, with asthma, with heart disease, with other lung disease, folks who are elderly, folks who are very young. When we see three viruses circulating like that, it is potentially really harmful for communities and for schools and for health systems and really any place where people come together. And so I would like to offer you just the advice on tools and how folks can stay safe.
Sure. Let's do this real quick. Let's give out our phone number. You're on Wake Up Call with Reverend Sheffield and our cast of characters here, and Dr. Bagdasarian, who is the Chief Medical Officer of the state of Michigan. Our call-in number is 313-340-9507, 340-9507. Here at Dable and Premier Quality Health, we vaccinated over 6,000 people, and our slogan is get the facts and get the vax. So go ahead, Doc. Tell us what you want us to know.
Well, number one, thank you for vaccinating all those folks. If you vaccinated 6,000 people, it's possible that you saved 6,000 lives, because what we know from the COVID vaccine is that it might not prevent a mild infection. It might not prevent you from getting, cold-like symptoms, but it prevents death. It prevents folks from ending up in the ICU and from ending up on a ventilator. And that's really what we want to prevent here.
And so let me pause real quick before you go on that. So therefore, I want you to know that Premier Quality Dable will have the latest booster shot. And can you tell us real quick, what are the recommendations for who should get this new one, Dr. B?
Yeah. So the new COVID-19 vaccine, we're calling it the 2023-24 COVID vaccine, it's turning into an annual thing. So it's available for folks 6 months and up, so it's available for everyone. Okay. We're no longer counting how many doses you had before, unless for children they still need multiple doses. But for adults, you just need to make sure that you have had a dose of this new vaccine. And in all likelihood, there will be a new one next year, just like the flu shot. And the nice thing about it is it's targeting the variants that are circulating right now in our communities. And there's good data. It shows your antibodies go up really nicely, which means that even if you had COVID before, even if you had a COVID vaccine before, those antibodies wane over time. They go down over time. And
absolutely,
this vaccine will keep your antibodies at levels that are really high and protective through these cold fall and winter months when the virus is circulating.
All right, so I want to make sure everybody here knows this. And next week, probably Isha will be here. She is currently out of town. Went to Washington to lobby Congress on some things related to allowing nurse practitioners to practice without supervision of a medical doctor. But the bottom line is we will have the vaccination here. We purchased some additional refrigeration so we don't have to run back and forth every day. And you ought to come and get that vaccine if you need it. Go ahead and finish what you were going to say, Dr. B.
I wanted to also remind people that, we want to make sure that folks are protected from whatever viruses are circulating this cold and flu season. So as you are thinking about getting your COVID-19 vaccine, this is a really good time of year to do it, but you can also get your flu shot at the same time. So you can get COVID and flu on the same day. Flu is also recommended for everyone ages 6 months and up. And these are really, I think, the two most helpful tools that you can use this fall and winter season. But we also have another vaccine that's coming out that is new, but that, again, could be a real lifesaver, and that is the RSV vaccine. Now, RSV, if you remember last year, we saw a lot of folks getting sick and ending up in the hospital with RSV. RSV was, just as much of a concern as COVID last year. And now we've got a vaccine for those who are 60 years and up. And the reason it's for that age group is because folks who are a little bit older can be more vulnerable to serious outcomes with viruses like RSV. Sure. And so talk to your healthcare provider and see if you're eligible for this RSV vaccine as well. So 3 vaccines to help protect yourselves and your families this cold and flu season.
We have a person in the audience who has a pertinent question. Go right ahead, sir.
Hi, how you doing? What's the price of the RSV vaccine, and when will it be available?
And how about all of them? I mean, is where are we with reimbursement for COVID? Is there a cost now for any of these, or if you're insured, it's covered?
So insurance should cover COVID, influenza, and RSV. Now, everyone's insurance coverage is a little bit better, but most insurances will cover these. Medicaid and Medicare will cover these vaccines. And COVID-19 is, it's new to the commercial landscape. This is something that was free for the last few years. And so COVID is a little bit different because people are used to getting it for free. And so the federal government has come up with a new program called the Bridge Program that will provide COVID-19 vaccine free to folks who are uninsured or underinsured. And then, of course, we've got the VFC program for children. So these vaccines, the COVID and flu vaccines, are available through the VFC program. So for the vast, vast majority, these vaccines should be covered, either by commercial insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, VFC, or the Bridge Program.
Dr. B, this is David. Thanks again for being on the show. Just really quick, can you speak to the fact that there's a myth that people believe that COVID is actually over? And due to this belief, it's caused some confusion, about the personal risk levels, and it discourages them to actually go out and get additional boosters or shots. So can you speak to that and give some data support? And then, too, you talked about there being, the privatizing them and charging people. And so that's, a lot of this.
The government ended that, what we were going through. So now, most people are covered.
Yeah, but I'm saying you have we know Pfizer, we know Moderna, but there are other. You
mean the types of vaccines?
No, there are other companies that have vaccines that are depending on COVID boosts in order for them to be successful.
Well, that's a whole different question, whether or not their bottom line is attached to COVID. I think what's more important is that we encourage people to get these. We're working through everything here. We have a relationship with United Health Group and some other entities that we're working with, Kellogg Foundation, some others, so that if folks don't have insurance, we can find a way to cover this. Our communities, and I want you to speak to this, Dr. B, our community, African Americans and poor, et cetera, are the most at risk because we have so many underlying conditions. And that's why it's really important for us to trust the vax and get the facts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'll start off by saying that COVID is still with us, and it's not going anywhere. It is going to be circulating most likely every fall and winter. So we know the types of conditions that COVID likes in order to transmit. It likes to transmit when folks are gathered indoors, in large gatherings, poorly ventilated spaces. It loves cold, dry conditions, and so the winter is really when it likes to transmit. Yeah. So in all likelihood, we're going to start seeing COVID become a seasonal virus, just like flu and just like RSV and all these other viruses that like to transmit in the winter. So COVID is very much with us. And then when we talk about communities at risk, yes, we have to think about communities in Southeast Michigan. We have to think about the Black community. We have to think about who is most at risk. And there are a couple of reasons why I want to stress that the Black community is most at risk for this virus. Number one, when we saw the first waves of COVID, that very first wave of COVID, Black Michiganders had a death rate from COVID that was 5 times higher than white Michiganders. Now, that is just simply unacceptable. It had to do with where resources were available early on in the pandemic. It had to do with underlying conditions, as Reverend Sheffield mentioned. But we've got tools. And if we use the tools, and that includes vaccines, we never have to see numbers like that again. So if you are vaccinated, it reduces your chance of death, severe outcomes, hospitalization about 14-fold. So even if you are someone who has underlying conditions, you are significantly reducing your likelihood of dying from COVID if you get that vaccine. Now, some people say the vaccine makes you feel kind of crummy. It makes you feel a little bit run down, under the weather for the next day. And that's true, but that is a sign that your immune system is working and that your immune system is pumping out antibodies. And go ahead, Reverend
And
Sheffield.
guess what, Dr. B? You can feel it. If you get COVID and die, you don't feel anything. So, there's a Texas light affliction is but for a moment.
Yes, sir.
It works a far more exceeding weight of glory. Look, I have the indomitable and incomparable young lady that I happen to share my life with, and that's my precious, lovely wife, nurse practitioner Isha. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
All the way from
Thank
sunny
you.
Florida. Go ahead.
Yes, in Florida. It's raining here. But thank you, Dr. Bagdasarian, for joining this conversation. It's extremely important. I just wanted everyone to know that we will be offering the COVID vaccine free as soon as we get it. We get our supply from the city of Detroit, so we're still waiting. Also, we'll be offering that VFC, vaccine for children, 6 months to 17 years old. Also, we'll be offering that at Dabo. And to your point, Dr. Bagdasarian, getting the flu shot and COVID vaccine at the same time is very important because we understand the issues that happen to the respiratory system, especially we're approaching that season. But can you talk a little bit about how early should you get the flu vaccine versus when the flu vaccine is at a higher rate, if you will? So if I get my vaccine in August and the flu doesn't actually start surfacing in great numbers until December, will I still have protection?
Great question. And, there's an echo. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for everything you do. We are truly grateful to have partners like you in the city of Detroit. One of the reasons why we want people to get their flu and COVID vaccines now is because you really see the highest levels of antibody protection in about the first 4 months. And so our advice is to get your flu and COVID shots in September or October, because what that will do is that will give you really nice, strong antibody levels through the cold winter months, through November, December, January, when we are expecting those viruses to peak. And then, with every virus, there is some waning of your immunity. That immunity it's not as strong forever. And so what's nice about getting your vaccines in September, October is that it gives you those really nice, strong levels through those cold winter months. And I'll say, I often am asked by members of the community, what's a good way to boost my immunity? What's a good way to make my immune system as strong as possible? And really, vaccines are the tool we have to boost your immunity. They are telling your immune system what to look out for. So they are a message to your immune system to say, this is something that I want you to be on alert for. So if you are looking for an immune booster, it's always good to have a healthy diet and get enough exercise and enough sleep and reduce stress. But it's also really, really important to get your shots, your vaccines.
For a long time, they were giving out home test kits. Are those still available? And if not, the test kits that some of us still have, is there an expiration date?
Great question. The test that you have, there will be an expiration date on the box. And so you can take a look at the expiration date, but many of those expiration dates have been extended. And so if you go on the manufacturer's website, you can see if your lot number, if the expiration date has been extended. And many of them have been extended by 6 months or a year. So you can, in all likelihood, still use the tests you have. I know I still do. And there is also a new federal program. So the feds announced just last week that they are, again, sending out 4 free tests per household by mail. So if you go on the federal HHS website, and we can try to get you that link, Reverend Sheffield,
Please do.
you can request tests by mail.
Yes.
Also, you can still find free tests in a lot of places in the community.
Yeah.
So, we are still at the state putting out those free tests in community centers and libraries and making them available for schools if they wish to have them. So there are still places where you can pick up free tests in the community.
Two things, Dr. B. One, put us on the list for free tests. We've been actually purchasing some tests. We had a whole lot of free tests. The other thing is you're not certain about whether the test has expired, don't have the ability to go online. We have people here. We have a community computer hub where folks assist folks in finding out things online. And, of course, you can come to our clinic. They'll be happy to do it for you as well. Ed, is that your question?
That's my question.
Right.
We really got to be proactive in this, because instead of, like, before letting it get out of hand, we need to nip this in the bud.
There you go. Appreciate that, Ed.
So, again, Dr. B, what Bishop had asked this question earlier. What are some things that we can do to assist with us not spreading COVID?
Well, the biggest thing that we can do this fall and winter season is, if you are feeling unwell, stay at home. And it's really simple advice. It's hard sometimes to do, especially if you have a job where they are difficult about sick days. But it's really important to try to stay away from others when you are coughing and sneezing and having fevers. If you can't stay away from others, the next best thing is to wear a mask, because that mask will keep those germs from getting into the air and spreading to others. Hand washing is also really important through these winter months, because a lot of things can be spread on doorknobs and other items that people are touching. So hand washing, staying at home, wearing a mask, these are all tools we can use. Now, if you do come down with symptoms, use one of those over-the-counter COVID tests just to see if it's COVID. If the test is negative, you can retest in the next day. That may, again, pick up the virus a little bit better. The reason we want you to test to see if it's COVID is, number one, you can stay at home, but we want you to stay at home if you're not feeling well, even if that test is negative, because we don't want any of these viruses to transmit. But another good reason to test is because we have got therapeutics. We've got medications that are effective against COVID, and we've also got therapeutics against influenza. So if you test positive for COVID, you can see your healthcare provider, or even go to a Minute Clinic or another pharmacy-type clinic, an urgent care, and see if you qualify for Paxlovid. So Paxlovid is a medication that is still highly effective for COVID-19, and then we've got medications like Tamiflu that are effective for influenza. Yeah. So it's good to know if you've got either of those two viruses. So key points are, stay at home if you're not well, or wear a mask. Take those tests, take the at-home COVID test, or go into your healthcare provider's office to see if you can get a flu test, because we've got medications that are effective against COVID and flu.
So in the spirit of UAW bargaining, let me just coin this little way of looking at it. We have the big three negotiating contracts now. Now you need to be worried about the bad three. Somebody say bad three.
Bad three.
Influenza, RSV, and COVID. You need to be protected against all three. I've had all of my shots, by the way. I'm going to get the booster shot when it comes. I'm not afraid to tell you that. I don't have any conspiracy in mind. Only thing I'm against is getting any of these. David, last question.
Just want to say again, thank you. And if you can, I don't know if you got the information, we can get those free health kits, tests.
Mm-hmm. You have to go to HHS website. We'll provide all that information. We'll get to Shayla to send out a blast for all of that. Is there a number that people can reach out to MDHHS or any other websites you recommend, Dr. B?
I will send some other websites along, because we've got a lot of really good, helpful websites. But can I tell you about one last
absolutely.
tool that's available?
Dr. B can do anything on my show.
Thank you. I don't want to forget, because this is really, it's going to be a game changer for folks who have infants. And we've got a new tool that's available for babies who have not yet seen their first RSV season. So this is babies under 8 months. We've got a protective antibody that's now available, and that we're recommending that babies under 8 months who are going through their very first RSV season, this will it gives them the antibodies they need that will protect them against this disease. And RSV can actually be a killer in those young infants who have never experienced it before. They end up with what we call croup, really scary breathing, often end up in the hospital, and this protective antibody could really be a game changer. So if you are a pregnant mom, or you know someone who's delivering in the next few months, it's really important to talk to your healthcare provider about the new RSV protective antibody. It's called Beyfortus. And if you have a little one who is under 8 months, they can still qualify to get Beyfortus going into this next cold and flu season. And this could be a real game changer to protecting those little ones.
Absolutely. We appreciate all the information. We thank you for the service you render and for the job you do. One of these days, we want to have a really nice town hall in our new facility with you to come down and just go over all of these things that our community can be healthier and happy. Thank you, Dr. Bagdasarian. We appreciate you being on our show.
Thank you for your partnership. Thanks for everything you do. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. And now we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we have Manifest Wellness, which is men talking about what to do to have good health and to stay here long term, so you don't have to have your wives cashing in on your insurance policies. We'll be right back after this.
Y'all, it's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield and the Wake Up Call.
It's the Wake Up Call with Reverend Horace Sheffield. We'll be right back on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your man Mike Epps, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Sheffield. Make sure you get yours.
I'm Hester Wheeler, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 AM or 92.7 FM. The wake-up call with the Reverend Horace Sheffield.
365. That's how many days there are this year. That means 365 opportunities to take in everything nature can offer. Sunshine, blue skies, walks in the woods, fishing, cycling, picnics. And where can you find all that outdoor awesomeness? Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, where annual passes are now on sale. They're your Metro Parks. Pick up your pass and use it all year long. Learn more at metroparks.com.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's Office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com.
Are you ready for an evening of powerful insight and inspiration? Join Dabo on September 27th at 6 p.m. for the Community Empowerment Speaker Series, featuring renowned scholar and activist Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West will be examining the relevance of Dr. King's vision and teachings in our current social and political climate. Don't miss this opportunity to engage with one of the most dynamic and influential voices in modern civil rights activism. Reserve your seat now for an unforgettable evening. Visit DaboDetroitInc.com to RSVP.
At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers. toss wipes in the trash can. And check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
Walked in and seen that the building had been burglarized.
Yes, that's pretty.
All this good work that Reverend Sheffield and Dabo do, and the enemy want to come in and ransack it
and take from it,
interrupt it.
So, if you don't know, this place, Dabo, is a beacon in the community. It's been that way for decades, and to take from your own home is kind of parasitic. So
absolutely,
whoever is the person that did take it, I hope it blesses you beyond measure. But just know that whatever you did, it called you to do what you did. It's just you got to think about the whole. Somebody needed to pay their bills. Somebody needed to pay their light bill. Somebody needed to pay their taxes, and you got to be more than selfish and taking from our community. We got to give from our community.
Absolutely.
If you need help, say you need help. That's just what it is. That's what this place is. I get it. Desperation could be one heck of a thing, but can't cut your nose to spite your face.
Absolutely, and brother or sister, who had done that, I forgive you because I am a Christian. I am a believer. I forgive you, but you need to make amends for what you did.
Yeah,
and I pray that you don't even sleep tonight.
Now you know what? They probably didn't have nowhere to sleep. That's what how crazy it is.
Could be. But you need to make amends for what you've done.
That's always true. But walking in today, I got him. He got me last week. But this your week now, brother. You know what time it is. What's going on?
Yeah, you know what it is. I got to.
We got brother Scott here.
Scott.
She didn't even want to turn your mic up.
Okay. Can you hear me?
No.
Okay. Clearly, this is by design. Okay, there it is. It's by design. Brother Barry, wanted to take liberty to let me know that, of course, me belonging to the greatest fraternity on the planet, that I was tardy.
I said I do.
This
not
week.
We.
So I'm going to concede that slightly, based on the fact that time is undefeated, and so glad to be here with you, distinguished gentlemen. Brother Pinson, Pastor Pinson, good to see you.
Good to see you, Brother Scott.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
How you feeling this morning?
I'm well. Very blessed to be here. It's always a pleasure to be in studio and with our studio audience and our listeners to bring such a very dynamic and engaging conversation to our city of Detroit. So we were very thankful.
And that just brings us into our topic on this morning. We asking, our colleagues right off the rip how we doing. It's a wellness check, but it's a subway going directly into our topic that we're talking about today, which is mental health.
Yeah, with this month, for those who do not know, this is Suicide Awareness Month. There are some very troubling facts about suicide that a lot of us don't know. We will be giving you some tips, talking about it. We can't solve it in one conversation, but we can hopefully eliminate the stress with someone, give someone the courage to speak up. Don't be afraid to come in here and call in. If you know someone that's having issues, that's what we're here for. We'll also be providing you with numbers for access if you're having issues, if you know someone that's having issues. So make sure you got your pen and paper ready, taking your text down, whatnot. But yeah, we're definitely here. It's not the happiest of subjects, but we definitely need to tackle this because it's tackling us. All right. And the people that we have on board. All right, now, brother, talk to you soon. The people that we have here on our dais here is, these are some of the best resources you can have in the city. When speaking of Reverend Pinson and my brother Scott over here, we if there's anything that you need to get off your chest, call us 313-340-9507. 313-340-9507. So I know we have our information that we're going to go over, but one fact that stood out to me, fellas, was that young black children are twice as likely as the national average to die by suicide. I don't even know where to begin with that one.
You know what? I looked at that data, this was several years ago, and it was mind-boggling for me, but it really didn't surprise me, and I'm going to tell you the reason why it really didn't surprise me. Been in the pastoral ministry for over about 16 years, working in the school system, helping out in the school system with the children. Our children is experiencing post-traumatic stress. On a daily basis. And I'm talking about working in a school system of K through 8. Let alone, I'm not even talking about high school, but K through 8. When you're talking about children K through 8 experiencing post-traumatic stress in the households where there's a war going on mentally in their mind. And truth be told, there's a war going on physically in that household. I remember meeting a child that won't even say her name, but I remember meeting a baby at church. She asked me for some headphones on a Sunday, right after service. She was 9 years of age at this time, several years ago. Asked me for some headphones, and this was after service. She just came to me like, Pastor, can you buy me some headphones? And this after service of people fellowship, and I didn't even pay no attention, to be honest with you. Came back the second time, probably about 2 weeks later, said, Pastor, did you give me my headphones? And I still didn't pay no attention. Because it's at the conclusion of the service during fellowship time, she came back a third time. And man, I had to stop and pause and like, hold on, what's going on? Sat down and talked to her. She said, I just need some headphones because I just need a good night rest because all I hear is gunshots every night. 8 years of age, man.
Yeah.
8 years of age. Asking me for some headphones. Not no expensive headphones, not no
just something to cover her ears.
Just something to cover her ears, because all she wants is to sleep at night. And so, Ryan, when you're talking about that data and them statistics, it's not surprising. But it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
That our children, our babies, is experiencing post-traumatic stress in the household at a place where you should be enjoying life, playing with toys, watching cartoons. Every day you should be waking up with a smile on your face as a child. But unfortunately, we have children in some places where it's very dysfunctional.
Yeah, very much so. Oh, man.
And
we're talking about being in situations of having post-traumatic stress. It brought me to a situation this past week. I was at my sister's house. She cooks, and since the pandemic, a lot of people changed their jobs. So she turned her kitchen into a restaurant. Shout out Shay's Sweet Treats. But So one of her buddies came over and was buying a lunch, and she was real distraught. And I asked her what was wrong. We sat on the porch, and she said, "I just went and picked my goddaughter up from one of the local charter schools here, 6 Mile Southvale area, and the school tried to get in touch with the mom and the dad. Neither of them couldn't get in touch with her, so they called the godmom. Godmom shows up. The girl, by the way, is 11 years old, sixth grader, right? So if anyone you have, we got twins in the audience. If any of you if any of you have young ladies or raised young ladies, the guys change about 13, but the young women start change between 10 and 12. So said 7. That's rough. But anyhow, the young lady had been dismissed from school for 10 days or so because they found a weed pen in her bag. And she said she brought the weed pen, and other young people were in the class were smoking it. They got caught, and she's probably lucky she got 10 days because sometimes that's complete expulsion and other things going on.
Mm-hmm.
So the godmother picked her goddaughter up and were taking her to the father, going from the west side of Detroit to the east side. On her way to the father's house, the mom, who wasn't available eventually, she got in touch with her, said she was at work, pulls up to the side of her at a traffic light, Davidson and Conan. And she looks down from her truck and she sees the mom. She's like, well, wait a minute. She's definitely not in work clothes and definitely not where you say you're supposed to be. So like she just came from partying or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she saw the godmother, the mom just sped off, right? The daughter was in the front seat with her. So she saw this. The daughter's in, some of the worst trouble you could be in school, and your mom's not there, nor your dad. And then you see your mom at a time she should be the one taking you somewhere, but she's being caught being, irresponsible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about what led, you can kind of see what led that young lady to feel that way, to jump out, whatever was going on with her, to do something that would, one, get her attention, but a negative attention. You see it right there because her mom's not giving it attention. But the story gets a little deeper. And it started 11 years prior to that. The woman has another child who at the time was 9 years old. This young man is in his 20s. And the mom left the house to go out and party. The son was 9, the baby, which is the 11-year-old now, was 6 months. So at about 4 a.m, someone broke into the house. And the young man was mature enough to get up out of his bed, go and get his sister out of her crib, take him to his bunk bed, take him up to the bunk bed, cover her, and just hope that she didn't make any noise, and then go and try to be somewhere he can hide from them, but at the same time, being a protective mode of his sister. The people went in there, went through the house, ransacked the house, did whatever they did. And then the young man went next door and told his neighbors. Neighbors called the cops. And the mom had no idea what was going on until she came home at 8 a.m. and saw all the cops in front of her house. And so you got to think about, when you start talking about post-traumatic stress, trauma, you got to think about what some of these young people are, grow with in their house, not just putting headphones over their ear, which is a real thing that I've never even thought about it, but I do, you hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. And so it comes to a situation, sometimes I think about it, like we were, we put it in full circle, thinking about things that happened here today at Dabo. Why do we prey on ourselves? Why do we hate ourselves? If we know that our children are copies of us, why, I know I couldn't answer that question for that woman, but what hurt does she have to make her feel like she has to go out in the street and search for something that's in the house? You know what I mean? You out in the street searching for some love, and that love is right in your house.
Supposed to be
You know
in
what
the
I'm
house.
saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you mentioned. There's so many layers to this onion that you have already spoken on, both of you. I just want to, I don't even know where to begin, but I'm going to jump in. Let's start with the little girl asking for the headphones, and I want to make some points. Since September is Suicide Awareness Month, and you just mentioned that very startling, profound statistic about our young black children being twice as likely to commit suicide. And then you talked about the infrastructure in the home. And I want to start there when we talk about this post-traumatic stress, this sort of this dysfunctionality, this maladaptive behavior that, or we used to say dysfunctional, and I believe you did mention dysfunctional.
I did.
How does it matriculate to normalcy? You talked about the young lady out there in the streets when she saw her daughter, when she should be at home. Well, if you don't know how to give love, if you've never received love, see, a lot of our adults are dealing with childhood trauma.
Totally agree.
Called ACE scores, adverse childhood experiences. And these adverse childhood experiences presents themselves with abandonment issues. Good brother Jason Wilson, who was the Cave of Abdullah. He talks about father woundedness, mother woundedness, abandonment issues, verbal abuse, growing up in poverty. But another thing, children emulate what they see.
Absolutely.
The young lady with the weed pen, and I'm not disparaging any aggregate group of parenting, but what I do know is that we cannot smoke weed in front of our kids, roll up, go in there, breaking out. These young kids.
Can you say that again, Brother Scott? Because I have a big problem with that too.
We cannot, as whatever age you are as a parent, it ain't just our young ones. I can't just blame
absolutely.
Our young ones.
But can you say that once again?
We got some adults well into their 40s and 50s,
Absolutely.
grandparents, nanas, big daddies, who are breaking down the blunt
right in front of them,
right in front of their grandkids, nieces and nephews, and like this is cool.
I just seen this yesterday. It's interesting. You just
How
brought this up.
can you think?
Been seeing it, but it just brought to me yesterday, and it just really
do what you
gas station.
Do what you do, but I mean,
I'm at the gas station. The boy had to be no more than 6 through 8. His dad just
blowing. I'm just blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, do what you do, but have some type of discretion.
There's no discretion. Look in cars when you ride by. Kids
what
be
I'm
in the back seats.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me.
I thought we would have learned that with the cigarettes. Don't smoke cigarettes around your kids.
Right.
If you smoke cigarettes, you shouldn't smoke them all. But you get yeah. And then you wondering why these kids can't, concentrate. They high. They catching contact.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Exactly. We got a caller on the line, Brother Scott. Hold that thought. We got a caller on the line, Brother David. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Go ahead, Brother David.
Let me say this about black people. Okay, black people. The problem with what was happening with black people is a problem. The number one problem to identify why black people have all these problems because black people's culture is lacking. They at the bottom. We as black people are at the bottom. That's why you see all this weed smoking. A little girl can't sleep in the neighborhood because of gunshot, because your culture is lacking. Black people culture is lacking.
What do you think we're lacking? What do you think we're
Because if
lacking?
you had a good culture, you wouldn't have these problems. Let me say this. A prime example, the Arab culture. If you go into Dearborn, where a large Arab community lives, you don't see or hear the things that are happening in black neighborhoods. Notice how I said that black neighborhoods, because you don't have a community in black communities. You have black neighborhoods. Neighborhoods bring you down. Community is uplifting for everybody who lives in there. In the Arab community, you go on Dearborn, it's beautiful. Just go along Fort Road and Dearborn. They got shops, businesses, it's beautiful. You don't hear any gunshots, any crackheads walking up and down the street. And then their neighborhoods is beautiful. They tear down houses where white people used to live and build their own homes to their specifications.
Well,
their children don't carry guns and do all that ridiculous stuff. And then the father, he works, and the mother, she stays at home and raises the children. You don't have that in black communities no more.
Brother David,
And that's the problem. Black people, this is why nobody wants to, black people, when they move into their neighborhood, they move. Because they know
Brother
black
David.
people are going to bring the community down.
Brother David, let's get a
Go
second.
ahead.
And I appreciate your comment, and I appreciate your passion. But what I definitely don't want to do is overgeneralize everyone in our community. We have ills. We definitely have ills in our community.
Every
but
culture.
but you know what I think is what we need is more galvanizations of situations like we're in right now, where you have black men leading black interested endeavors. Like you got Reverend Sheffield, and you got every person. If you ever come up here today, but which I invite you to, you'll see black men who are in more of our octogenarians, all the way down to young people who are getting involved. What we need to do is increase that mentality throughout the city. So what I hear from you is that you have situations where you have men doing a lot of the leading as they should, and we have leaders in our community here. We just need more. We have a lot of young people who are turning into followers, but you do see a lot of folks that are here trying to bring about change. And you also
Can I
have
make
to,
one more last comment?
Go ahead, brother.
Okay. Like, I totally disagree with what you're saying. Until the culture, massive culture in black neighborhoods change among black people, these are still going to continue. The education of black people is going down. It's 51% illiteracy rate in Detroit.
That's a national average
black
too.
people.
That's a national. You would agree. That's
Let
it's
me
not
say
just
this.
us.
And last thing, the Italians community, it was in New York. Do you know why the Italians didn't want anybody in the mafia selling drugs? Do you know why?
No, tell us.
It was they didn't want any members of the mafia selling drugs because the Godfather he didn't want them to do that, because if you sold it to the blacks, he said eventually it would get to the Italian community. See, that was a man who has cultural value, who fixes and loves his people. No one black has ever said anything like that.
Well, brother
Why
David,
drugs are infiltrated in the black community, because you can sell anything to black people because they're lacking culture. That's the end of my comment.
Brother, thank you. I appreciate your comment, brother. Yep. So, what we're gonna say here, we gotta guard ourselves against overgeneralizations to our public. Everyone is, we all have our opinions, and they're valid, and we want to hear them. But what we want to not do is definitely overgeneralize. Because
Absolutely.
when we start talking about substance use disorder, it may have had some roots in targeting, and we don't want to get into all of that, or targeting the community, but that phenomenon there is something that's cross cultures, cross age, cross genders, cross socioeconomic. It goes up and down the line, whether it's prescription drugs, street drugs. Addiction is real, and there are resources that help you, and it's tearing down. We definitely can see how it grossly affected the black community. But there's a lot of communities that are affected and still being affected by that. And we want to let you know that there are opportunities for you to get help if you want help. But call in 313-340-9507. I don't want to hog up this mic. Brothers, anything on your mind?
Let's get back to this mental health piece. And I want to speak to it as in the context of the faith-based community. Because I know at one particular time, and I'm not even going to say at one particular time, it still exists, it was like taboo. You don't talk about suicide in the church.
Yeah, it's still a tough topic to talk about, but it is there.
Yeah, I think that I'm glad that you broached that subject, Pastor Pinson, for a lot of reasons. I know that when we view it from the conduit or from the context, suicide and mental health. And being a Christian, who I will am proud to confess, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because I know the demons that were exercised for me personally. And with that, even though that I went to prayer, believed in prayer, believed in the redemptive, repentant blood of the Lamb, I also know that there are professionals who are anointed and have trained to help individuals work through some very difficult things.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, people, there's a saying that common sense ain't so common. And sometimes we as Christians, I don't want to say you can ever be too Christian-y.
I'm with you. I see where you're going.
But sometimes our Christianity overlaps our common sense. And I'm saying this as tactfully as possible.
I hear you.
You understand?
Absolutely.
Because sometimes we can pray for individuals, but you also need to go see a therapist.
Well, the Bible said faith without works is dead.
Or a doctor. Or you need to go do, absolutely.
You got to put some work in.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely.
If
Put some work in.
If I understand, when Jesus was on his path, there are many people he went and counseled and talked to, right? John the Baptist being one.
Absolutely.
And also
Absolutely.
to take a little further, when we talk about it's taboo in the church, we got to be real with this. I mean, I could take you from book to book where it's persons who committed suicide.
Ain't no question. I mean, schizophrenia.
So why we don't talk about it?
Schizophrenia.
Now, you hit me to something. I'm sorry, please.
No, I'm just saying, schizophrenia, mental health. The Bible is replete with individuals.
Talk about it, because now I'm familiar, but I didn't know that.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Well, if you look at Jeremiah.
Okay. I mean, we could go from book to
Gideon.
book. Yeah. I mean, book to book.
These are individuals who suffer from schizophrenia, mental illness. The theologians will tell you this. It has been well documented. You look at Legion, who was living in the tombs. Perfect example of mental illness. In my opinion, there's a verse of scripture in the book of Isaiah, I believe, chapter 33, that even talks and broaches substance abuse, where it talks about the soul will loathe food and bread, and that his bones will stick through his skin.
Absolutely.
Those are consummate symptomologies and indicators of substance abuse disorders, addiction, what people go through.
Absolutely. And you take it a little further. I know we're getting ready to go on a commercial break in a second, and we may not have time to talk about it now, but we can pick it up on the other side of the commercial. But you talk about Judas.
Absolutely.
Who sold Jesus out. Bible said he went up to a tree and hung himself. If that ain't suicide, what is it?
Wow.
What is it?
Why did I just not come?
And we can go from book to book, but I don't want to turn this into a Bible study.
Having extreme trauma and pressure on yourself.
Absolutely.
You're right.
When you talk about trauma, and I use this, I talk about, there's a thing called psychological first aid. There's 8 components to it. But when we talk about trauma, since Pastor Pinson has brought this up, one of the most traumatic events ever witnessed in mankind was the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. So how could you watch that or see that as a disciple, those that were there, and not be traumatized?
Or just the entire, the whole process. You're right. That's trauma. Ooh,
that's trauma in itself.
Yeah. Ooh, boy.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of things that we talk about, and you're right, Brother Bear. I want to commend you for your very tactful understanding that all views are valid. But one thing I do want to highlight is that we have got to stop giving cannon fodder to the negative narrative that has perpetuated around black folks for centuries. But we got to go on break. Right now, we got a break coming up, so we're going to catch you and finish this. I'll finish my thought on the other side of the break.
Please dial in 313-340-9507. That's 313-340-9507. Come be a part of this meaningful dialogue that'll really bless your heart.
y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
Reverend Horace Sheffield is live, and it's the wake-up call on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Are you ready for an evening of powerful insight and inspiration? Join Dabo on September 27th at 6 p.m. for the Community Empowerment Speaker Series, featuring renowned scholar and activist Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West will be examining the relevance of Dr. King's vision and teachings in our current social and political climate. Don't miss this opportunity to engage with one of the most dynamic and influential voices in modern civil rights activism. Reserve your seat now for an unforgettable evening. Visit DaboDetroitInc.com to RSVP.
This is Super Bowl champion Lomas Brown, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield, my man.
This is Grover McCants, and I get my wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 a.m. or 92.7 FM. The wake-up call with the Reverend Horace Sheffield. See you there.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Here's the thing about golf. If you like golf, you love golf. And if you love golf, you love it a lot. Like a lot. And when the weather is even the slightest bit accommodating, you grab your clubs and head to your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks. Because 7 regulation courses is a lot to love. Like a lot. They're your Metro Parks. Come to play and bring your clubs. Learn more at metroparks.com.
At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers, toss wipes in the trash can, and check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
Hi, I'm Stacy Reeves, General Supervisor for DTE. As part of our plan to make your power more reliable, we're installing new smart technology. When it's up and running, our smart grid will have fewer and shorter power interruptions. Our crews are out every day doing everything in their power to deliver the reliability you deserve. DTE.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
Call in 313-340-9507. Before we went on break, Brother Scott was right in the middle of something that was real good, real impactful. So let's get that man back his shine.
Thank you, brother. I just wanted to 2 things during break. I'll address I'll add that in, but I got some very good, insightful information by one of our studio audience members. But I was going, before the break, I was touching on how it is imperative that we reshape and rewrite our own narratives on the black culture, instead of constantly viewing us as lacking culture, which could not be further from the truth. We are the cradle of civilization. The black culture. It springs from us, Mesopotamia, Egypt.
Absolutely.
I mean, I could go on and on.
Eve.
But in addition to that, during the break, I had an interesting conversation with a studio audience member. You don't mind if I say your name, do you? A young lady by the name of Glenda McGagney, and I want to first extend my condolences to her. She just recently had a loss of her mother, so I extend my condolences to her. But she brought up something very important to me when we talk about these delicate situations, when we talk about suicide, how it's even as a young child, we can perceive that we need something or something is lacking. And we don't know what it is because as a child, and I share this with individuals who I counsel and mentor and provide insight to all the time, people are going to fill in information or fill in coping mechanisms that are age appropriate. So if you're dealing with a child, 7 to 8, that are in crisis, they're going to fill in their coping skills with a child 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 believes will work. A child, and you say, well, how can a child develop these suicidal ideations at such a young age? Well, it's easy. First of all, the brain is not fully developed, so they look at this as the only go-to.
Only alternative.
This is my only option. They feel isolated and by themselves because the person that they're looking to provide that healing, that help, that validation, for a lot of times is validation, is missing. They're not getting, so they feel isolated. So they don't feel loved is where I'm going. And when a person does not feel loved, when they're looking for love or need love, in their mind, even as adults, they may ask themselves, well, what's the purpose of me being here? Why should I still be here?
And it's the only thing I can do to make it stop.
Yes, Ms. Gaddy, she also mentioned a book by Mr. Gary Smile. It's called The Love Language Books. Scripturally based, and I know I'm familiar with it. And it would behoove us to do reading, to read more on topics. I know, again, it's a very difficult, but I just want to go through some things here.
Okay.
I do a lot of suicide prevention training, ladies and gentlemen, because it is something that we in the black community, it is something that we have to bring to the table. Suicide is an issue in our community.
And has been.
It really is.
And has
We can no longer keep it. It is the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Just like mental illness, just like mental health.
Yes.
We have to discuss these. We have to discuss these issues. We're getting better, but we have to really peel the layers off this onion and address it. I just want to mention some books that I found very influential. There's a gentleman who I was introduced to by the name of Dr. Thomas Joyner. He has written 2 books that Why People Die by Suicide and Myths About Suicide. Very insightful for me. There is another group called Kevin Song that came about because of a couple who lost their child. There's another book. I do a lot of crisis intervention training, and I worked on a panel out in Oakland County, and a gentleman whose son suffered from mental illness for the longest, schizophrenia and things of that nature, and was very difficult for him to seek treatment. And he introduced me to a book called I'm Not Sick, I Don't Need Help by Xavier Amador. So the point I'm trying to make is that we need to do our due diligence. We need to be The term I use now is intentional. We need to be intentional.
Yes.
With our steps on how we're going to eradicate and minimize the susceptibility that we have regarding these particular issues, instead of marginalizing and sweeping it up under the rug, because these are very difficult topics. Right. Let's make no mistake about it. And sometimes, even when you don't know who to go talk to, I tell anybody, talk to someone.
Well, we got Brother Scott, hold that thought. We got a caller on the line, Minister Lisa Goss. Minister,
It's her first time calling.
Is it on the line? Are you there, Minister?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you for your patience.
Good morning. Good morning. I almost jumped out my chair when I heard you talk about generational trauma, because in the church, the faith community, we are quick to call something a generational curse and not addressing the trauma that has come down from generation to generation to generation. That's one thing that we must address, is the generational traumas in the family. We don't address that. When we call things generational curses, we're waiting for someone else to break the curse. So I'm under a curse, there's nothing I can do about it. But when we understand that there is generational trauma, then there's conversations to be had. Then we also must realize that if we talk about God, we love God, we trust God, then we also need to begin to trust God's resources. And his resources, mental health therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists are included in those resources. And we have to, this is my belief, that we must get away from that ideology that has been passed down from generation to generation. What happens in this house stays in this house. I can remember hearing, if I catch you out there telling our business, I'm going to beat the black off of you. This has been ingrained in us to keep our mouth closed and don't tell. And a lot of times when we do tell, we're questioned or not believed. If I tell Uncle Johnny been touching me, but then Uncle Johnny is at the dining room table eating dinner the next night, who do I trust, right? And so we have to begin to listen. And many of us do not know how to listen. We have to learn to listen. We have to learn. We have to learn to listen, and we have to include, bring together. It should be coupled together, mental health and spiritual health. I don't believe they were ever supposed to be separated. There needs to be a reconciliation between the two, and I thank God that the church that I belong to, we talk about mental health. We have a counseling ministry, and it's prevalent from the pulpit. And so maybe that is one of the things that we can do when we talk about reconciliation of mental health conversation in the faith community, is to bring those two together from the pulpit.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very vital. It's very important. We can no longer be like the proverbial ostrich who sticks his head in the sand and act like issues are not transpiring. Personally, 7 years ago, a friend of mine, a colleague, a pastor in the city of Battle Creek, good friend of mine, committed suicide. This is real. We need to talk about it. We can no longer sleep it on the rug. We can no longer come to a place and say, just pray about it. No. I stand on the word. Faith without works is dead. It's okay to pray. I stand up here and tell you I'll pray in a minute. But I'm going to get up and I got to do something about it as well. And that's why we have resources. We have QPR. We're going to talk about that, Brother Scott and Brother Brian, I guess. Because in fact, we got another commercial break, they telling us. Wow, that's cool. We got another commercial break. Thank you, Minister Lisa Goss, for your input. We appreciate you, and God bless you.
Your family, please always call back here. Always.
Thank you. Bless you.
See you on the other side of the break. Dial in 313-340-9507.
Y'all, it's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield, in the wake-up call.
Reverend Horace Sheffield is live, and it's the wake-up call on WVTC Radio Detroit.
Peace and quiet. Whoever you are, sooner or later, you're going to need some. If only there was a beautiful place just minutes from where you live, where you'll find a perfect little piece of peace and quiet. Turns out there is. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks. With 25,000 acres, there's plenty of peace and quiet to go around. They're your Metro Parks. Come see what all the noise is about. Learn more at metroparks.com.
Hi, I'm Stacy Reeves, General Supervisor for DTE. As part of our plan to make your power more reliable, we're installing new smart technology. When it's up and running, our smart grid will have fewer and shorter power interruptions. Our crews are out every day doing everything in their power to deliver the reliability you deserve. DTE.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Randy Rosario, comedian and TV host. I get my Saturday wake-up call with my guy, Reverend Horace Sheffield. Think about it. Good day.
I'm Sheriff Raphael Washington, Wayne County, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up every Saturday morning from Reverend Horace Sheffield, and you should too.
Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 1500 AM or 92.7 FM. The wake-up call to the Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Are you ready for an evening of powerful insight and inspiration? Join Dabo on September 27th at 6 p.m. for the Community Empowerment Speaker Series, featuring renowned scholar and activist Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West will be examining the relevance of Dr. King's vision and teachings in our current social and political climate. Don't miss this opportunity to engage with one of the most dynamic and influential voices in modern civil rights activism. Reserve your seat now for an unforgettable evening. Visit DaboDetroitInc.com to RSVP.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
The Detroit Water and Sewerage Department is looking for motivated Detroiters to be a part of our team. We have opportunities for field services technicians, engineers, and customer service specialists with competitive pay and benefits. Make a real difference with the work you do every day. Join other Detroiters who are taking part protecting the pipes where we live, work, and play. Learn more and apply at detroitmi.gov/jobs. DWSD, working hard for you.
From the cotton fields of Mississippi to the highest halls of education around the United States of America, Junebug is a story of inspiration that proves that hard work and perseverance is the answer to anyone's dreams and aspirations to make them come true. Go to MississippiJunebug.net and order your copy today. Junebug, the novel by Wilson Edward Reed.
This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote. This ain't no joke, you gotta vote.
It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield in the wake-up call.
These brothers are doing some great work, so please get to know them. But as they will finish our conversation, before we really get into the last bit of that, I want to share some numbers for you. We said we would give you some resources if you or anyone else is having any type of mental health crisis. There are a plethora of resources out here, and they're growing by the day, so shout out to those who are doing the work in the trenches daily. There's an Access Helpline that's open 24/7. All right, so jot this number down. If you don't have it, jot it down. I'll try to give it again, but it's 800-241 4949. 800-241-4949. That's a 24-hour access line where you can call to get, a plethora of services if you or someone else that needs them. Another great site if you are looking for up to 12 hours of free therapy. We were talking about therapy. Make use of that. It's okay to not be okay, and it's even better to let someone know that you are not okay. All right. So reach us, Detroit. You go to reachusdetroit.org. That's it, and you go through the prompts, and you can get up to 12 hours of free therapy. I can go back. I'll share some things at the end, but I don't want to hog up the mic again, fellas.
Before I think, just to add real quick, another resource, we wanted to make sure you have the text number for the National Crisis Suicide Line, which is 988.
Yes, sir.
988. You can text 988, and I believe it is prompt 1. What would you text that? And that is to the National Suicide Crisis Line. You can also dial 800-273-8255 and press option number 1. That's what I meant to say on the 1-800 number. Again, that 800 number. You can still dial in. It's 800-273-8255, and you press option number 1 for the National Suicide Crisis Hotline.
What's that 3-digit number again?
988. Text 988.
988. Committed to your memory.
And let's take advantage of these resources. Maybe it's somebody on the call, someone maybe who is going through a season in their life and they feeling hopeless. Please share this number with somebody. There's a model program that is utilized that all of us are familiar here with. It's called Question, Persuade, Refer.
QPR.
QPR is a national program. It's called Questions, Persuade, Refer. And in a nutshell, all it is that when you hear somebody making statements such as, I don't want to be here anymore, we have to be very active in what we do because we can potentially preserve somebody's life.
Absolutely. I'm glad
let's talk about that as we closing out.
I'm glad you mentioned that. There is a myth, almost a unfounded folklore, if you would, that if you ask someone who was having suicidal ideations, that they will be more inclined to commit suicide. So 2 things I want to address. You can never, ever do a person a disservice by asking them point blank, are you thinking about hurting yourself?
Absolutely.
Are you thinking about harming yourself?
Absolutely.
Are you thinking about committing suicide? And if they do respond in the affirmative, yes, I am. Understand this, and I want to make this crystal clear. Having suicidal thoughts is not abnormal.
Not at all.
Period. People go through things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I have had them.
Mm-hmm.
I have been stages in my life where I've had them frequently.
Mm-hmm.
We need to understand that suicidal ideations are normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's when we devise and develop a plan to harm ourselves and understand that the most lethal means of suicide is firearms. Mm-hmm. Men will use firearms, although that's why men are twice as more likely to complete suicide, to die by suicide, but women are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide.
Meaning that their meth is different and less lethal.
Absolutely. There's a term. There's a new term out now that is becoming more popular. It's called gender responsive.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that, Scott.
When we talk about what it means to be gender responsive, it is pathways. It is pathways on how we get there. See, the pathway to suicide for a male, there's gender responsive that are indigenous specifically to males than we are for females. We mentioned trauma already. Trauma for a female, and even for a male, may hinder around being sexually abused, being around unhealthy domestic violence, as being growing in a household with domestic violence. These are pathways that get us into the deep, dark forest.
Correct.
So we want to be conscious of that. And I think these conversations that we're having today, brothers, and with our studio audience, it allows us to be transparent. It allows us to find out that individuals who we've never met before, I'm going through this. I'm going to say this real quick. I want a prayer call every morning with, again, the greatest fraternity on the planet.
You're alpha.
And
you jump ship.
And there was,
I don't think they're going to like you jumping ships, but I understand why you would.
And one of my frat brothers of Omega Psi Phi fraternity was sharing how, as a child, his father was an alcoholic. He watched his father beat his mother with hammers.
Oh, my God.
My God.
Oh, my God.
Him and his younger brother. So now just imagine that trauma. Now that child is carrying this trauma all his life now. His father ends up dying driving drunk in an automobile accident. And later on, his mother commits suicide.
My God.
How do you unpack that? How do you unpack all of that? And I as I listen to and look at the responses of our studio audience, how many more people are dealing with that?
Absolutely.
How many more people are dealing with that type of baggage?
Yes.
Dealing with that type of trauma that they've never discussed in their life because they don't know what to do with it.
Wow.
So, I mean, and that's why we have this platform to try to help out. When we talk about question, persuade, and refer, we recognize that some of us are not psychologists, psychiatrists, but we do have the responsibility to refer when we hear some sayings when people are making or when people have suicidal ideations, and when we dare. I don't want to ever I don't ever want to preside or officiate a funeral no more when I hear persons saying, I wish I could have did that. I should have did that.
I'm so glad.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I hear it all the time.
Pastor Prince, I promise.
All the time.
I wasn't going to say nothing else, but because you brought that up, I have to interject.
Go ahead.
It is very difficult to see a person that you know is in Christ, that you know has the potential to hurt themselves. And they'll tell you that, no, I don't want to go get help, and they won't go get help. Sometimes we have to petition our loved ones. Sometimes we have to file a petition where they can evaluate them for 72 hours. And at least during that time, maybe they, can get back to a level of an emotional state of what they call homeostasis, where they balance themselves out. Maybe get them back on their medication, and then perhaps get them treatment. So I'm glad you mentioned it, because sometimes we have to do a very tough thing, and that is petition our loved ones to get the help that they need, especially when it comes to mental illness and suicidal ideations.
So, fellas, I think that we should probably revisit this next month. Maybe spend. I know we have a new topic.
So. Yes.
Maybe just spend one of our segments, because there's so much, and I know we're rushing to finish. The show is just about done.
Well, we got 10 seconds.
But what I want to do, and on a good note, one of our good brothers who's here every week, making sure we're eating, making sure we're secure, and he's just quiet. You just don't even know. He's, just make sure that things run smoothly. So today is his birthday. So, Brother Chris, wherever you at, happy birthday, black man. We're glad you're here. We're glad you made another year. And we'll see you next month on Manifest Wellness.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
God bless you.
It's time. It's time. It's time for the wake-up call, y'all. Come on. Come on.
You've been listening to The Wake Up Call with Reverend Horace Sheffield and friends. Tune in again next week from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on the WVTC Detroit Radio Network.
He's on the line. This is knowledge and power for every mankind. For every generation that's in these streets. We making sure you ain't walking in your sleep. We're in your town, your city and community, promoting good health, wealth, and unity. We educating everybody, y'all. Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield, the wake-up call. It's for y'all. It's for y'all, Reverend Horace Sheffield, and the wake-up call.
The views and opinions expressed on the previous broadcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WVTC Radio Detroit, its advertisers, or affiliates.
Congratulations to WVTC Gospel Radio, as they are again the recipients of the 2023 Stellar Award for Best Internet Radio Station of the Year. Many thanks to our viewers. Keep watching as we are winning victories through Christ. Here's just one of the fine programs right here on WVTC Detroit. Hey, are you in need of a jingle, a commercial, or have you considered a podcast for your business or ministry? If so, let WVTC Radio Detroit be your choice. And guess what? Location is not a problem. We can pick you up and broadcast you from anywhere. For more information, please go to our website at WVTCDetroit.com or drop us an email at WVTCRadioDetroit@gmail.com. We're waiting to hear from you. Here's just one of the fine programs right here on WVTC Detroit.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.